Welcome to part 2 of Coffee Club. We're going to talk cup final, we're going to talk Hearts there at McInnes, Scudetto in Italy, all things. Once Bill gets a bit of Empire biscuit out of his mouth.
It's by the way, it's caramel shortcake but with an orange filling. It's beautiful.
An orange filling, that's exactly what you need on a Wednesday morning. Cup final, Bill. We spoke yesterday about Rangers and what was going on there. Things are moving fast there. We're gearing up for a cup final. How are we feeling about it? Because I'm going to put it out there right now. I think this this is gearing up to be possibly the most one-sided Scottish Cup final in living memory.
Yeah, well, that is entirely up to Aberdeen whether they want it to be.
Prove me wrong, Aberdeen.
If Aberdeen turn up now, Aberdeen have just lost 4 games in a row. They've had an appalling post-split run. They've ended up 5th. We've talked a lot about whether it's been a good season or a bad season for Jimmy Tellin, right? If they go on Saturday and put up a real show, win the cup, it'll be a great season. If they go there on Saturday and put up a brave show and maybe lose narrowly, we might say, actually, there's a sign of where they are. If they go there and get pumped, if you don't mind me using the word, they go there and get battered the way they did at Pittodrie last midweek, the way they did at Parkhead, the one before that, I think it turns into a bad season. I genuinely do.
That's absolutely 100% agree with you, and I wonder what Jimmy Tillane can do, because I think, having watched Aberdeen in the last few weeks, I just give them no hope.
No.
I hate saying that, getting into a cup final.
Yeah,
I'm going to go to Hampden on Saturday, we'll both be there, and there's a kick-off.
And remember, we'll be sitting surrounded by Aberdeen fans.
We'll be sitting around the Aberdeen fans, we might know 1 or 2 of them, but you genuinely hope it's going to be a good game, a close game, a competitive game.
And it really needs Aberdeen to score the first goal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To set it off. If Celtic go out and go a couple of goals up early on, I mean, the occasion then collapses a little bit as well. But I mean, we watched Aberdeen. I saw Aberdeen against Hibs in the first game after the split. They did okay, they won 1-0, they had a magnificent goal from Kevin Isbett, and you thought, okay, this is Aberdeen coming back on the boil. They then came to St Mirren, they never had a shot on target, lost 1-0. They then get battered by Rangers, lose 4-0 at Ibrox, and it could have been 7 or 8. They then lose 5 to Celtic, again, it could have been as many as you like. And the last day of the season, they throw away a lead at Tannadice.
Through more than that.
Yeah, well they did, we'll come to that in a wee second, but that puts the tin hat in a bad split for them. But I think they have looked empty.
Yeah.
I don't know what shape he's trying to play. I don't know what his attacking intentions are, apart from give the ball to the guys that are really fast and let them run. I think he looks a man who's very lost at the moment.
Yeah. We'll come to Celtic in a minute, but Aberdeen have spent a considerable amount of money since Jimmy Tillane's come in.
That's why it could be a terrible season.
Dave Cormack, the owner there, has his critics for maybe some of the things he says and does,
but
he's always front and centre, it seems, when things are going well. When things aren't going so well, he's maybe in the background. He's not the only chairman or chief exec who's like that, let's be honest about it. But however, the point I was going to make is he's backed. The
100%.
club, him and the board at Aberdeen have backed Jimmy Tillane to the hilt.
The turnover of that squad this season, during the windows, has been remarkable. They look at central defenders changing, central midfield players changing, the number of more wingers than Celtic, I've got to think, and they've just kept spending money in Britain. Then they've done it again. They've just brought another one in. Before the season's even finished, they've signed another winger before the season's over. I don't think he could have done more for Jimmy Tillane.
No.
And I'm not sure it's been rewarded.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on it there though, because this time last week Aberdeen could have gone to Tannadice and won.
Yeah.
Right. They're in the cup final. That would have changed the mood around the place.
It would have.
They go into a cup final in theory. With more positive energy about them. In theory, they could win. They could still win the cup final.
Of course they could.
And suddenly we're talking about sitting here going, how Jimmy Tillane's done a great job. His first season is Aberdeen.
Finished third, finished 4th, win the cup.
You know what I mean?
Magnificent.
But we're okay though saying that slight change either makes them a potentially
that's football
manager of the year contender or a dud.
I wouldn't say a dud, but I would say that for what has been spent, if he finishes,
so the end result is a be all and end all, yeah.
Sometimes.
In this occasion.
And I think with the money that's been spent for him, the players he's had at his disposal, with the support they have behind them, you know, in terms of, you know, crowd support and all that stuff. I think Aberdeen should. We talked yesterday about identity. Managers having an identity. I don't get what his identity is.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. I don't know what it is. Same with Neil Crichton was at Hearts. We talked about. Don't know what it is. You look at Jim Goodwin at Dundee United. You look at David Gray at Hibs. You look at Stephen Robinson at St Mirren. You look at Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. You can clearly see. You can put the kettle on for how they're going to play and what they're going to do. I don't see that with Aberdeen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think even in the semi-final against Hearts, playing against 10 men, they didn't seem to have a clue what it is they wanted to do. Playing against Rangers, when Rangers are 10 men, they didn't really know what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that worries me when you've got a coach who comes with his reputation and a squad with that much experience who are on that kind of money, that there's a lack of purpose and identity to them.
Yeah. Listen, who knows, maybe by tea time on Saturday night we're talking about a famous Aberdeen victory and Jimmy Delaney's getting carried on the shoulders of the players around Hampden, you know?
If you're an Aberdeen fan watching this and listening to this and you see us on Saturday and you go and beat Celtic, come and have a gentle word with us. And we'll say, well done.
You're saying that now. You're saying we're climbing over the seats to get to us.
Well, on the subject of which, I wrote about this in my column on Monday.
Where do you start with that kind of behaviour? Genuinely. I know we have a laugh on here, right? We have a laugh and a joke, but where do you start with someone who thinks it's okay to do that?
We do this as a job. We're both, you know, spent a lot of money paying in through the gate to watch our team over the years, watching your club, watching your country. Two things I've never thought about doing. One is I've never thought about jumping over and around the park. It's not I don't think we belong in the park.
No.
And the idea of throwing something, whether it's a coin, a light or whatever, into a crowded area, you're right, it just blows your mind that it would happen. But as I said on my column Monday, it's been coming in Scottish football.
What's the answer for it then? Because I think there's a big argument. That's not Aberdeen's fault as a football club.
No, it's not.
It's not Dundee United's fault in terms of policing or stewarding. That's not their fault. There's only so much clubs can do.
You can't legislate for stupidity.
Right, so what's the answer?
However, there's a culture now among football fans that they're entitled to do whatever they want. And clubs have enabled that, right? Clubs have enabled that by at Parkhead, at Ibrox, at Pittodrie, at Tynecastle, at various grounds of saying, see this bit here?
Yeah, but there's a world of difference, Bill. There's a world of difference. I know it interrupts you. There's a world of difference. You're saying enabling. We're not of an age where the ultra scene is for us, right? We're not an age where that does anything for us, right? But there's a generation where that is a thing, and these are 99.9% of these guys are law-abiding youngsters who come into the game, they sing, they bang their drum, they sing their songs, and they go up the road.
I wouldn't say 99% because it's not 1% that are setting off fireworks and flares and throwing things on the park. I think there's an entitlement among a lot of the younger fan groups, right? And again, we don't know who this person was yet, who's done this thing, right? So there's an entitlement that says we're important, we're more important than the other fans in this ground. We can do what we want to do, and there's a lot of them piling over the fences when goals get scored. We saw it again with Aberdeen a couple of weeks ago when they lost to St Mirren. There was a group of fans who were abusing a young disabled supporter, St Mirren disabled supporter.
There's always been antisocial behaviour in football matches.
Gordon
Strachan was talking to us a month ago, talking about getting somebody running on the pitch and blamping them.
But
it's always happened. Yeah. Things like that have always happened.
But that stood out at the time as a sore thumb thing, right? I would say that what happened on Saturday with that Aberdeen supporter has been coming for a long time because we've seen Celtic goalkeeper Sinisalo talking the other week about bottles getting thrown at him. We saw Arnie Engels getting hit with a lighter. We saw the Celtic fan doing the 66 thing and they end up losing his jaw when police. But there are so many with the Hearts fan racially abusing a Hibs player earlier on in the season. That the level of what people think, and I think social media has added to this over the years, is that people think they can do anything with no consequences.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And there's a thing, if you're saying how do you change this, people need to change. People need to go to the football and realise that it's not okay to just do what I like. But that has to come for the clubs as well. Clubs have to be more responsible. Clubs can't just say...
What can the clubs do? What can they do? Other than saying, don't do it, what can they actually do? Like, we're talking about the Rangers game last week and a banner, right? We're both surprised how that banner gets in, and that's only a banner. Should they be doing more about searching guys getting about flares and stuff like that? Should the policing be better? Should the paid policing be better?
Police and stewards aren't doing enough. One of the reasons they're not doing enough is because people are coming in gangs, especially away games, and the police are saying, if we get among this gang, there's going to be trouble, so let's just kettle and let them in. So there's a lot of intimidation going on. Generally though, I think, for instance, I might be right in saying, I think Aberdeen's allocation for Tannadice at the weekend was reduced because of the missiles that had been thrown at Jim Goodwin the time before, when Jim Goodwin had vodka bottles, etc. thrown. I think it might well be that you have to say, well, you can't go. Like, you know, the SPFL did with, I think, Rangers, Aberdeen, Motherwell after the Cup semi-finals earlier in the season. Right, we're cutting your allocation for next time you get to semi-final because you let off. Now, that only works if the 500 people who don't get tickets are the ones who let off the things.
And that's not how it works. You know, that's not how it works. You're then punishing the guys who's sitting in the stand with his daughter or his son.
But that's what I'm saying.
But Celtic, I was pleased for James and all joking apart. A fantastic player he's been for Celtic down here. A great boy. You'll not find anyone more humble in Scottish football. No. He's just a great lad. And I think, by the way, he should start on. I think he should be in the team for Celtic on Saturday. Yeah. I think he's been kind of a bit part player since coming back in terms of coming back from injury. But tell you what, he turns up in the big moments, and I think he deserves to start that game.
I think it's more like it's unlikely to play 90 minutes.
Yeah, he should start play for an hour.
If I was him, I'd rather come on with 25 minutes to go and finish the game, be on the park when
4-0 to Celtic by that point.
Well, possibly, yeah.
You want to start. You're Bill. Sorry, you're a player. You want to start the cup final. You don't want to be sitting. You want to be walking the team out. You want to be getting the whole thing. You want to be scoring the first goal. You want to be. No. I think he deserves. And that's just not. That's not a sentimentality comment for someone who's.
If you were Brendan Rodgers, Forrest one side, or Kuhn one side, Forrest other side, Maida through the middle, and you down the bench. Yeah, that's what I'd be.
Yeah, 100%. Adam Maida for me, I hate to say it, isn't good enough. No. He'll point to his goals, he'll say Brendan Rodgers will defend him, his teammates will say he does this and that next thing. I think Celtic need to do better. Yeah. I think they need to, and I think they will. I think they'll look to bring in a
more natural
finisher, someone who likes to play better. I don't think he's good enough at that.
Kyogo's available?
Kyogo, maybe. I would be surprised at that. Yeah. But anyway, his numbers are decent.
But I mean, Dyson Maida's season's been ridiculously good.
Phenomenal.
And you could see him finishing the season on a high, couldn't you?
Very much so. Very much so.
Because the way Celtic, I mean, the semi-final against Aberdeen was, I think, Celtic's best, the first half especially, Celtic's best performance of the season. The way they played the little triangles, the way they turned Aberdeen players, the way they just ran away from them at pace. Aberdeen had absolutely no answer. Yeah. And some of the goals they scored were beautiful to watch. Yeah. And on a sunny day at Hampden, big pitch, you can see Celtic just going and enjoying themselves, can't you?
Yeah, very much so. Well, time will tell on that one. We're both going to the game. We're looking forward to it. Someone's given us a little Celtic Empire biscuit, green and white.
And a wee red Aberdeen
one. That's
clever memo.
What else is going on this week? Jack McInnes, we called it. We called it weeks ago, number of weeks ago, that Neil Critchley wasn't going to be there much longer, and I remember talking about it, saying that I thought Derek McInnes would be the man. He is the man. He's been appointed. I think it's a good appointment. I think it was quite an ugly end, the way it kind of finished for him at Kilmarnock, albeit.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a kind of messy end for him, albeit I don't think Derek McInnes did anything wrong whatsoever.
No.
He was pretty straight with the whole thing.
Absolutely.
I think Kilmarnock were as well, and I think to be fair to them, it was just a reaction of the. In fact, saying that, Derek, I did a story about it last week, and he spoke about it Monday when he was announced that he'd made the decision before the game at Fir Park that was going to be his last game, even before the abuse he got. So, but listen, I think a great appointment. We don't need to talk too long on this, but. Big changes coming at Hearts.
He's very much the right guy. I think you talk about identity again. I love the way a lot of people gave Kelly a hard time. I love the idea of big solid back four, a couple of guys in the middle of the park, two guys wide, two guys up top. Hearts fans will love that.
Yeah.
Over the years, Hearts have become too soft and too predictable. I used to always think when you played Hearts, when I was a kid growing up, Hearts were always powerful, quick, good strikers, big centre halves.
Sandy Clark.
That's a kind of Drew Busby way back in the day. Sandy Clark, me, John Robertson nipping about, really good wingers. And I think, your John Cahoon kind of players. And I think Derek will take them back to that. He'll get He'll get balls into the box. He'll make things exciting.
They need pace in the team.
And I think what he'll do is using the analytics they have there, he'll say, see the kind of players Eric Kilmarnock, go and get me 2 grades up.
Yeah.
This is what I'm looking for. But with all due respect to the guys I had, and I think there's 1 or 2 at Kilmarnock he might have a wee look at, I'd be taking the boy Fraser Murray. I know he's ex-Hibs, but I'd be taking the boy Fraser Murray if he could. To play wide.
There's clubs looking at him, I think.
Absolutely. I think he'll lose.
Top of my head, can't remember.
I think he'll lose the likes of James Penrice probably.
Yeah, potentially.
I would look at David Watson.
What about Shankland? He spoke pretty clearly that he wants Shankland, that he wants to keep him, that he wants
Shankland has not spoken very clearly about anything.
No,
he
really? Pretty much he did. He was quoted on this before Dale went in there and he said about how he's going to weigh things up.
Yeah.
They obviously worked together at Aberdeen.
Absolutely.
Shankland was a young player at Aberdeen, didn't really work out from there.
He was a different player then.
He was, nowhere near the player he is now. But can you understand? You think Derek could get? For me, Shankland had a disappointing season. I know he played in a different position. He wasn't further up the pitch.
He's 25 goals light on what he was the season before.
Yeah, he was playing a different position though, which he might argue was the reason. But at the same time, in the games I watched, even in the position he was playing, he didn't do enough.
No.
But there's a talent there.
There is a
real talent there, and I think if Derek can get him back to what he was then.
Lawrence Shankland has worked best when managers have kind of pandered to a little bit. Put their arm. Ian McCall was brilliant with him. Put his arm on his shoulder. Monson, you're a great player. Get yourself fit.
He's the same. He's the same.
Absolutely.
No. You need that.
All right. Okay.
You need that.
Not
for me. Don't touch me.
I thought you had a cuddle. And I think he needs to get fitter.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be back to being looking a bit sharper around the edge of the box. But if you're Derek McInnes and you think, if I can get another season out of this boy, that might just be the very thing I need.
Yeah.
You know, Lawrence Shankland might be sitting there saying, do you know what? If I can get one more big deal, I can go somewhere and play.
The Rangers chat's never going away with Lawrence Shankland. Albeit they've not got a manager yet, but that's always been one I wondered if it might still be a possibility, but that's just me thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Time will tell with Hearts, we'll keep an eye on them.
But I really do wish Derek all the best.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a good fit.
Alan Archibald, Paul Sheeran, two great guys. Really good guys.
Great guys.
Hearts have landed lucky there.
I think it's a good fit. I think they will do well next season, and I think there could be other changes, managerial changes. Obviously, Tony Docherty's away from Dundee.
I think that's poor.
Yeah, that was. In all honesty, I wasn't surprised by it.
No, neither am I, but it's the way football goes. But do you know what?
I think that's a sad indictment in our game that you're not surprised with something like that, you know?
Do you know what?
He shouldn't have been sacked.
Again, we talk about margins, we talked about Jimmy Talib margins. Dundee had, I think, probably more than anybody, they had decisions go against them that were disgraceful all season. And they don't even themselves out. Right down to the Kilmarnock game, the day that Kelly stayed safe and Dundee were kind of plunged towards things. Terrible, really poor decisions going against them.
What one was that?
The one where they don't get the penalty when the referee gets called across by VAR, and then VAR don't have any pictures to show them because they actually realise that they don't think it's a penalty, and the whole thing's embarrassing. And Tony, week after week, it was
the one he thought it was offside, or he claimed wasn't offside. It was offside.
The week before that against Motherwell,
that was offside.
But I don't think so. There's 9 phases of play before. Anyway, I think Tony Docherty is a manager with a lot to offer. I think Stuart Taylor is number 2's a coach with a lot to offer.
Yeah.
And I think someone. And by the way, if I was Kilmarnock, I'd go and get Tony Docherty.
Yeah.
Been there before as number 2, knows the place inside out. I would get Tony Docherty in a minute.
I don't think Tony Docherty will be out of football very much longer.
No, I don't think so.
I think he's got so much to offer, and I think I hope he does. That's no any inside information. In all honesty, I just think he's someone who's well respected in the game, and I think he should and will get back in. What else we're going to talk about?
Europa League final tonight.
You're want to talk about this for some reason.
I do want to talk about this because you don't like Ange Postecoglou, and I hope he wins.
No, I hope Man United win, and as someone who likes Liverpool, that's not great for me to say. You like Ange, good on you. Fair play.
I do.
Is that it? Are we done?
No, I genuinely hope.
Tell you what, I'd love to be in Bilbao. I was there for the Rangers game a couple of weeks ago. What a city!
Yeah,
absolutely stunning. And we were there at that time thinking, how magnificent would it be?
Do you know what?
As Rangers were going back there.
I was watching.
It wasn't to be.
I was watching a journalist from one of the big down southy papers on TV the other night saying, "Isn't it terrible that people are charged so much to go to Bilbao? They should have moved the final to England." Just shut up.
Well,
you're going to one of the greatest cities in Europe.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a magnificent stadium, and it's been planned for a year. and this is what's happening, so deal with it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be
that pretty much sums up a lot of these guys. They want football to go to them.
To go to them. Football coming home all the time. But I think it's going to be very open. I think it would be very naive. I think there could be a million mistakes. And I really hope Tottenham win. Because I really like Ange Postecoglou.
So why?
Because
I don't really want to go there, but let's go there. Why do you like him?
He's a guy.
What is it they like about Ange Postecoglou? Tell me.
100 things.
Tell me.
The thing I like most is that he's not a win-at-all-cost guy. He believes in something more than just... He thinks football should be more than just scrambling a 1-0 win. It should be a joy and an entertainment.
Don't disagree with that.
And he's been hit for that all season when it doesn't work.
I don't have a problem with that.
He's been battered all season for it when it doesn't work. He's had a million injuries to deal with. He's tried to play the game he wants to play it.
There's always an excuse with Ange Postecoglou. There's always an excuse. If he doesn't get a result, there's always there was decisions, there was injuries. Yeah, no, I don't like the cut of his jib. I don't like the way he presents himself. I don't like the way he makes how he seems to enjoy the fact that he's quite a aloof person.
Yeah.
Right, okay, you're allowed to be aloof, but why celebrate it? He loves the fact that, I mean, he tells stories about people think it's a death seat when they sit beside me in a plane. If I'm going back to Australia, they've got 12 hours because I don't speak to them, and no, that just means you're not particularly a great person. No, most people aren't that. Most people sit in a plane and put their headphones on and watch a film. You don't need to make a big song and dance about it.
I don't have a problem, I'm joking about it.
No, I don't, and I don't like the way he left Celtic. I don't like the way he bluffed his way through those last few weeks as if no one knew what was going on, and he was fully focused on Celtic, and the idea that we were going to Spurs was absolutely pie in the sky and make believe. No, you've riled me.
I know.
I've bitten. No, I was there in his last press conference the day before the Scottish Cup final, and he was, oh no, if you think I'm speaking to Spurs, alright, okay, Andrew, we're all buttoned up the back. You thought we were all buttoned up the back. We weren't. We knew what was going on.
So your dislike of Ange is based on his treatment of the press?
No, it's just his overall conduct. And I see it now. He was a man of the people when he first went to Spurs. I know, man, I didn't know when he bite. He was a man. People were a man of the people. People were, oh, that's Ange Postecoglou, what a great guy. Time goes by. No, he's not really a man of the people, is he? He's a bit grumpy. He's a bit. He doesn't like being asked a question. He's not for me. He's not for me.
Angie, I hope you win tomorrow night.
No, he's not for me. A decent manager, by the way. I don't have a problem as a manager. I just.
Who will win?
No, I don't think they will. I think it could go the distance, by the way. I say that. I'm not actually that bothered who wins.
No. I think it's one of these games that could be 4-0 either way. You know what I mean? Because I think
it could be 4 each.
But they're both capable of being absolutely terrible.
I can't believe I got me to bite an Ange Postecoglou. I said I wasn't going to do it. So there you go, that's what I think Ange Postecoglou. I've put my cards right in the table.
Absolutely.
We've got keep you much longer in this final coffee club of the season. We've enjoyed it, haven't we? It's been a good laugh.
Right back to Munich.
Magic. That was a year ago.
I know.
Wow.
Almost a year ago.
Yeah, almost a year ago. We were in at the Euros covering Scotland with all this.
A year ago when we didn't know what we were doing. A year on when we still don't know what we're doing.
That's it, a year not knowing what we're doing. But what I was going to say, we're here at Bella Vita, our favourite restaurant in Glasgow, here in Moss Park area of town. Get yourself here. We got looked after by Mimo, Robbie, Marco, the team are magnificent. Mimo is a huge Napoli fan.
Yes.
And he is like a
wee schoolboy.
A wee schoolboy. So the idea that Napoli, Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmour's Napoli can win Scudetto.
He's going across to Naples. He's very upset because he was planning to try and buy a ticket because the game was going to be Sunday. Both the Napoli and the Inter games have been shifted to Friday night in case the league ends up tied. And because if Naples lose and Inter get a point, it'll go to a playoff. And they want to make time to prepare for the playoff. So Napoli are at home to Cagliari, and they just need to better Inter's result. They're a point ahead.
What does it say about Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmour? I mean, if you lose, Ferguson won the
Coppa Italia.
The Coppa Italia last week. Fantastic for him. You've got young Josh Doyle just winning promotion up to the top flight there as well. McTominay, he seems to be. He's the man.
They adore
Gilmour
him
as well, but McTominay's off the charts.
As you know, my wife Sonia's family are from the same little village as Donnarumma, just across the bay from Naples, and they adore both Billy and Scott. Scott in particular, they just think this guy's now. Mimo here went across to Naples a few months ago and invented the McTominay and Gilmer pizza.
You can have it here. Yep.
You can have it here. It's got a little bit of sort of haggis and stuff and it's changing the pizza recipes over there is a little bit kind of, oh wait a minute, but they loved it, and it was, and the two boys have just captured the place, and when the people in Naples take you in, they absolutely take you in. Now, if it had gone the other way, it's you're going for the messages in the boot of the car, but I was over when Napoli won the title 3 years ago.
That's what Sonia does to you, isn't it? Every Sunday going to Asda. You could fit in the boot of your car.
I know. And it's one of these smart cars. So 3 years ago we arrived on the day they were winning the title the last time, and for the whole week the place was just utterly bonkers. So I'm quite envious of Milo getting to across this weekend, and I hope they get the job done, because I love that the sort of one club city thing, and you know the whole place just goes kind of sky blue, and it's going to be remarkable for Scott and for Billy. To win it in their first season would just be the best thing ever.
I think if there's a city to be this weekend, if there's we're talking about Bilbao earlier on,
but Naples,
if there's someone to place Naples, it's on the Friday night. If they do it, I'm not sure you want to be there. If they don't do it,
I need to take you there at some point and show you the places.
I've been.
I know, but you need to know the places.
Typically, you know better, eh?
Well, yes. Not to be too fine a point.
Fair enough. Oh, that's a fair comment. I've enjoyed Coffee Club. Can't even say it this year, Bill. It's been good chat. We'll see what happens in the cup final. We'll see what happens in Italy. We'll be back probably ahead of the first week of the new season. There'll be a lot of change by that point, no doubt, in your Rangers manager. Maybe some other appointments, new Kilmarnock, new Dundee manager. And we'll see
new presenter maybe.
We'll see where the new season takes us. But thanks very much for all your support throughout this season. Let us know in the comment section below as ever what you think of this week's chat. Like and subscribe if you can. With some great feedback in the last few months about the chats, which we really appreciate, and we hope to be doing it again next year. Like I say, always get in touch, let us know your thoughts on what we're saying, what we're doing, and we'll catch you again next season.
Have an amazing summer.